Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to WD18, the Watford fan channel. It's your Watford versus Nottingham Forest preview. As always, we're joined by Sam and Elliot to look ahead to another big game, as is every game in the Championship, but particularly this one. We're on the back of a 2-0 win against Wycombe Wanderers, again at Vicarage Road. Our impeccable home form continues, and fingers crossed it can continue this weekend in the early kickoff versus Forest. We've got a packed preview show for you. We're going to be taking a look at that Wycombe win. We're going to be talking about some news this week with Tom Cleverley's injury. Maybe change that Xisco Munoz can make. We've got some clips from Francisco Sierralta from the press conference today that Elliot's managed to source for us, and then we're going to be speaking to Ben, a Nottingham Forest fan, and getting the opposition insight ahead of Saturday's game. Sam, we're going to kick it off with you, mate. You were on the match reaction on was it Tuesday night? I've got my days completely mixed up.
Wednesday, I think.
Wednesday night against Wycombe. A 2-0 win. Exactly what we needed, wasn't it? That reaction, that performance, it was pretty comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. It was really, really comfortable. Looking back on it again, I don't think we ever looked throughout the game like we weren't in control of it, or we weren't, in pole position to win the game. And pretty much with in terms of a follow up from that Bournemouth defeat last Saturday, I think it was the perfect response. And in this league, all you need is 3 points, regardless of who you're up against or the performance. So I was happy with it.
Elliot, you were at Vicarage Road on Wednesday. What did you make of the Watford performance and result? We didn't obviously get to hear from you on the match reaction, so it'd be nice to hear what you made of it.
Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant game. I find it a little bit difficult to get rid of emotional ties to it when I'm at the game, because I judge it differently from watching it on TV. But I thought it was a really good performance. I thought that the right-hand side in particular was fantastic. A couple of small issues here and there, but Wycombe didn't really test us that much. The only worry I had was Uche Ekpezu, really, but I think William Troost-Ekong and Francisco Sierralta did really well to deal with him, and you could see that Gareth Ainsworth on the touchline was really frustrated with how his team weren't winning the balls and why they weren't quite contesting with Watford, and they were just second best in every area, which is the best thing for us. And I just thought we were fantastic. We didn't really get tested too much, and overall it was just I wouldn't say a perfect performance, but it was a very, very good performance, and we got the job done, which is fantastic.
Elliot, who stood out for you on Wednesday night? Was any players in particular mentioned? Sierralta there, Troost-Ekong, I think both of them dealt with Ekpezu really, really well, actually. But who else maybe stood out for you from the performance on Wednesday night?
It might have been easy for him to stand out because it was his first start at Vicarage Road and his first start in the Championship. But I thought Philip Zinkernagel was absolutely brilliant, and the fact that he's playing in central midfield and he's barely played there. I think he came off the bench briefly against QPR, I think it was, in central midfield, but he looked like he was a born central midfielder. He looked really comfortable there. His movement was fantastic. There are a couple of things that he needs to maybe iron out here and there. I think he jumped into a couple of challenges unnecessarily at points, but I think that was more his hunger and his desire to maybe make his mark on his first start in the Championship. But I thought he was brilliant. He looked comfortable in the team. He looked like he was on the same wavelength as his teammates. And it was the little times where he would drift out on the left and he would just add an extra layer of threat to that both attacking flanks, because I think he drifted to both sides at points. But I just thought he was a very, very good, he's a good backup central midfielder. I think he's probably the best backup central midfielder you could have in the Championship to say, we could bring Philip Zinkernagel on if we need it. I thought it was, really good performance. And considering he's not played much football as well, he played the full 90 minutes, I think. And that was impressive. I think that was the standout for me.
Sam, we've mentioned with Zinkernagel on the match reaction show how he was one of the standouts. I think the assist for the second goal in particular was so good. The composure, the awareness, the vision was brilliant. But is it a bit of a concern that we're having to maybe play him there, and we're going to have to play him there probably at the weekend if we continue with the 4-3-3?
Yeah, I think that it's a phrase we used quite a bit before we moved to the 4-3-3 was square pegs and round holes. And I feel like because of the injury situation at the moment, which I'm sure we'll talk about, we are probably going to have to revert to something like that. While, putting Ben Wilmot in the middle or Philip Zinkernagel in the middle out of their favoured positions to kind of fill in those gaps, which is it's really frustrating. But I think the calibre of player that we've got in the squad, they're more than capable of filling in, as Zinkernagel showed the other night. We are going to have, with all due respect to Wycombe, we are going to have more challenging games than against them. Probably Saturday even will be much more difficult, and so will Cardiff away next week. So be really interesting to see how we do. But yeah, just touching on the injuries now, it's a massive shame to see Klebs out at the moment as well.
Yeah, we're going to have a little chat about Cleverley and the impact that could have and whether we maybe revert to a 4-4-2, Elliot. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the midfield situation. Sam mentioned Tom Cleverley there. I mean, we're quite kind of light in that department, really. Not as Zinchenko isn't a central midfielder. Well, he isn't. He's a natural winger. But we're having to play him there. And we're having to maybe, as Sam said, put square pegs in round holes. What's your thoughts on the situation? How do we solve the midfield, not crisis, but issue?
Yeah, it is tricky, and it does seem like everyone's dropped out of the squad at once. Chalobah out, Cleverley out. It's not ideal. And then we've had Gosling out as well now, who's picked up a knock and won't play on the weekend. So it is difficult. Carlos Sanchez does cushion that blow. Obviously, I'd rather have Nathaniel Chalobah in there or someone like that. But it does make life difficult, and more questions of why Domingos Quina was loaned out, but that's the story for another time. And that's the sort of thing that we can go into for days separately. But yeah, it's a difficult one. It would make sense to have a 2 in midfield because we do need some midfield cover on the bench. I do think Ben Wilmot will probably come in because I actually, on the touchline on Wednesday, I saw the instructions that Xisco was giving to Ben Wilmot as he was coming on, and you could see he was saying the 2 at the back, and then he was doing that as if to say to put him and Hughes in the little pivot in front, and then he sort of did a long finger forward as if to say Zinchenko is the attacking midfielder in that situation. So it might be that we do something like that from minute 1. We have like a 4-2-3-1 and have Zinchenko a bit further up, or like a 4-2-1-3, if that makes sense. But I can understand calls for a 4-4-2 as well, which is something we spoke about against Wycombe, where we said it might make sense. Having 2 informed strikers in Gray and Pedro also means it makes sense. But then Joao Pedro is naturally a left winger, and I remember Vladimir Ivic said that Joao Pedro is not a striker; he's a left winger. So he's got his options, but midfield is a difficult situation at the moment.
Sam, I wanted to bring in the comments here, actually, as Elliot mentioned the formations. We'll just have a little look on screen. Eddie says a 4-4-2 potentially, but Aaron says, as you said, no reason to switch to a 4-4-2 even with injuries. And I actually saw Aaron saying this, that Frankie said, play Pedro on the wing instead of Sema and play Andre Gray through the middle. I guess that solves the Andre Gray or Pedro dilemma. Is that something you'd be keen to see, Sam?
Yeah, it's something that it's personally what I would do if I was Xisco Munoz tomorrow. But my gut feeling is that we are going to revert back to the 4-4-2 because of the shortages in midfield, whether Carlos Sanchez is fit enough to start, or I don't know whether he wants to start Wilmot in the middle. I personally don't think he'll kind of go with that. I think he will go with the 4-4-2, and the way he'll solve the Gray and Pedro dilemma is by playing them both up front together. So he doesn't look interested in giving Ken Sema a rest, something I think pretty much every Watford fan can see. So I do think he will change to the 4-4-2, and hopefully it does work out. But do you know what? Either way, it wouldn't really surprise me with the 4-3-3 or the 4-4-2. It also wouldn't shock me if Carlos Sanchez came straight in as well.
Do you think that, Sam? You could see him going straight into the 11?
I could. I think it's more likely we see Wilmot in there. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But and also Carlos Sanchez would have only had a week or so to train with the squad. But I wouldn't say it's completely out of the question if he's fully fit. The injury update came out and there was nothing on Carlos Sanchez, so he seems to be available tomorrow. He will. I'd say I'm 95% sure he'll be on the bench. I think.
Kind of has to be, really. We're quite
exactly. We're at the bare bones at the moment, but it's just the sooner we get through these games and we'll have Cleverley back off the international break, the better.
Well, Frankie also says here some really good comments from him. He says 4-3-3, Elliot. Wilmot playing deeper, Hughes taking up the Cleverley role, and Zink playing a more advanced position. Is that something Xisco should maybe consider?
Yeah, possibly, because again, that's not really disrupting and it's not really changing the system, which is probably to Watford's benefit. Because if you're we can forget Bournemouth, we can sort of consider that a one-off. We are in a pretty good run of form, so it would make sense to keep the system as it is. You don't want to disrupt anything. You don't want to change things too much. So that does make sense, and he's happy for Ben Wilmot to play in midfield. Will Hughes is obviously more than happy to pretty much play anywhere in the centre midfield, whether it's as a I think an interesting one. I think the fulcrum was how Adam Leventhal described it on a press conference the other week, and I thought it was a brilliant phrase for him. But yeah, so he can play in that role. He can play in attacking midfield. He can play as a box to box, any of that. So yeah, I'd be more than happy to see Hughes play in that position. And we've seen with Zinchenko, he sort of drifts, and it's really, really beautiful to watch at times, the way that he can just drift through all the little gaps and can play as a midfielder and a winger and an attacking midfielder all sort of at once. I think that would work. I don't know if that's what Xisco will go with. I remember reading that Carlos Sanchez is match fit for this weekend, which is a positive. So yeah, I think he's got his options, and I think he is likely to start Ben Wilmot, and I think he'll probably, like Frankie has said, go with Will Hughes and Zinchenko ahead of him, because he's not. I think he would want to keep the formation the same and keep the system fairly similar to how it has been in recent weeks.
Yeah, it does feel like we've kind of got a winning formula now with the 4-3-3. But one aspect of the team that we're not going to be changing, I don't think, is Francisco Sierralta at centre-back. And Elliot spoke to him earlier on today in the press conference. He talked about a range of things. But first off, we're just going to play a clip on him moving to the Championship and playing for Watford.
And the opportunity to come to Watford, and you came originally on a trial, I think it was. How easy was the decision for you to go from Serie A or Serie B with Empoli, but Serie A with Udinese, and to then come to the Championship with Watford? How easy was that decision to make? Because some people may see that as a step down, perhaps.
It's been very easy because the Championship doesn't really feel like a second division, even worldwide. In Chile, obviously, we all know the Premier League is the best in the world, best top players, top quality, but even in the Championship, like, it's very much followed abroad, and it doesn't really feel like a second division. Like, it's very famous and it's still one of the best leagues in the world. So my decision was very easy.
Es una liga muy competitiva que hay muy grandes jugadores, así que no fue difícil tomar esa decisión.
It's really interesting to hear about kind of the outside view on the Championship, Sam. Francisco Sierralta. It does feel like his ability and his qualities and strengths just suits the Championship to a T, doesn't it? He slotted him brilliantly.
Yeah, exactly. And if we do go up, I'd say it'd also suit kind of a lower Premier League sort of team as well. It's just been, I think while the Pozzo's kind of recruitment strategies kind of been put under scrutiny over the last couple of months, particularly, I think this just shows about another gem that they found. He's 23 years old. He's taken to the Championship like a duck to water, is the saying, I think it is.
Mr. Cliche, Samu. I could see your little face there. Your face there was like, oh no, here we go, cliche.
but you know what I mean? I think he's adapted perfectly into this Watford side. I think it did take him a while. He didn't impress too much in the Carabao Cup against Oxford, or I can't even remember, it was so long ago, but
Newport as well.
Newport. But now he's probably the first name on the team sheet, along with Will Hughes, in my opinion, and Kiko. Yeah.
Elliot, just on that, before we hear again from Francisco, we've got a comment here which says Sierralta and Glenn Murray head to head. It does feel like that battle is a really, really big one tomorrow. I don't know if
you just know he's going to score tomorrow.
Well, that's the thing. Can you see it? I can.
I think it will be a lot of fun to watch that duel tomorrow, and with that, and with the prospect of playing in the Championship, he said separately in the press conference that he loves the style of the Championship, and he said that it does suit his qualities really well, which is great to hear from himself, and to hear that actually straight from him. So I think he'll be relishing this opportunity to play against someone who is a veteran of the Championship and really knows his stuff. And yeah, I can't wait for it. And I think neutrals as well, with it being on Sky, will really enjoy seeing them go head to head and battle it out, because anything could happen there.
Yeah, exactly. And Suleiman says Sierralta is one of the best centre-backs in the Championship. I think that's a very fair statement. We're going to move on to the next clip with Francisco. He touches on, I think it was the international, isn't it, Elliot? Let me just get it up here. Yeah, he touched on the Chile fans, and we all know about the comment section on Watford's Instagram. They've been going crazy for Francisco, and this is his thoughts on his national team's supporters.
Is it, do you think, to get into the Premier League to increase your
I was playing two very important games with the national team in Chile, so people started commenting, and then obviously now that I'm playing more here at Watford, it helps a lot. But I'm very proud, of course, obviously being Chilean and playing for the club, and I'm very proud to represent my country here in England at this club.
Little teaser for the final comments from Francisco. That was not intended, but he talks about the Premier League and how that could potentially help his international chances with his country if we do get promoted this season.
How important is it, do you think, to get into the Premier League to increase your chances of being picked for things like the World Cup and for prospects like international tournaments?
Yeah, 100%. It's very important to go up to the Premier League, and we are working out every week, thinking game by game to try to get the maximum amount of points we can by the end of the season. It's not going to be easy, and also it's not easy to get into the Chilean team because it's very competitive, as you said. Obviously, going up to the Premier League will boost the chances, but at the moment, like, we have to think to go up, and then it will be easier to get into the national team.
Do you feel, guys, with the two centre-backs, Sam, Troost-Ekong and Sierralta, the way they performed at Wycombe, they've got to continue now and try and build a partnership up? I know there's been calls for Wilmot to come in, and I think we all know how talented he is. But is it a case of now just sticking with two and kind of building a partnership? Because you've been massive on the goalkeeper and the back two being the same.
Yeah, can I just give a little story about Troost-Ekong quickly? I just thought I'd share quickly that it was back in, I think, 2016 or 2017 that I went to the Hive, the Barnet Stadium, to watch Nigeria against Senegal. And Troost-Ekong was playing, and I had no idea who it was. But at the end of the game, there was a massive pitch invasion. And I was like, being like, what was I, 13, 14 at the time, I was like, oh my God, I have to get a picture with any random footballer or whatever. I didn't know who it was. I was looking through my camera roll earlier. It was Troost-Ekong.
No way.
Mental how things work out.
Well, you've got to post it on Twitter, mate, surely.
Yeah. I'll do it after this stream.
we'll give it a retweet. That is quality. But yeah, as Aaron says here, Sam, we need both Sierralta and Troost-Ekong to combat Murray. That does feel like the big battle tomorrow. Yeah,
I think this is probably going to be... I wouldn't change it. I think that we've probably found the best combination at the moment, seeing as I think Munoz probably views Wilmot as more of a midfielder than a defender, particularly now with the injury situation. So I think he will keep the back two the same, and I think it's really important because I feel like those two set a precedent for the rest of the team. The rest of the team trust them, and the fullbacks trust them, and the midfield trust them as well. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. And also Troost-Ekong's passing improved on the ball as well, and he probably got more time on the ball against Wycombe than he would against other teams, but small steps, and it's good to see him improving after a shaky couple of games, I think.
Yeah, exactly that. And Elliot, just before we cross over to Ben, the Forest fan, I just wanted to get your thoughts on those the two centre backs at the moment. Is that the two for now we need to continue with?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's good to have some stability and consistency, and they've both proven that they are good enough to start for the club. I think another thing that was interesting was how they communicate. So they actually talk in Italian, Troost-Ekong and Sierralta.
Okay.
Sierralta talks to Kiko in Spanish and Messina in Italian.
Great insight, Elliot. That is
quite interesting as well.
So Troost-Ekong, Sierralta Italian, and then Sierralta because he's on the right.
Yeah,
he's on the left.
Sierralta, if he's shouting over to Femenia would be in Spanish, and then to Messina they speak in Italian.
I'd love to be in a geography lesson with these Watford players as well.
I'll tell you what, though, Elliot, that I didn't know that, but the fact that he could communicate with both fullbacks fluently, that is a massive asset. And I didn't even really think of that.
So yeah, I think they need to come back to what you said about them keeping their places. Absolutely, I'd have those two as the starting centre halves from now on. And yeah, they're both in good form. They both played very well against Wycombe, so I'd keep them around for a little while longer as the starting two.
Great stuff. Right. Sam, a few technical difficulties. Sam's back.
Sorry. Last time, Elliot. Yeah. Sorry.
There we go.
Last time it was Jacob. This time it was me.
I tell you what, mate. It was for the big build up for our guest, Mr. Dorr, the Forest fan. Ben, thank you so much for coming on, mate. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Really good, really good. Thanks so much for your time, mate. Wanted to get the lowdown on Forest. We've got a few players who have been at Watford this season who are now at Forest. But just in terms of Notts Forest, how have you been doing this season under Chris Hughton, and what have you made of the season so far?
Since Chris Hughton's come, at the start, he had a mess. He had a mess to deal with. The first game he had was against Blackburn. Was a win, and we needed a win. And then, like I just said, he had a mess. And then because Houghton's way he plays, Forest fans wasn't happy, but then it was slowly getting results for us. And then like all teams, there's always going to be ups and downs. And then for the last 16 games, we've lost 3 or 4 games, but he's slowly getting away from the bottom 3. So we can't complain how Chris Houghton's came, but as a Forest fan, the main point was to get away from the bottom 3. But he's done not too bad for us.
Yeah. What you mentioned the style of football there, mate? What can we expect from a Chris Hughton? I think we all know what a Chris Hughton side is kind of the fundamentals and the principles. But what has he done at Forest that's maybe different to what you've seen before under the likes of Lamucci?
The way he sorted that defence out. That was a big because with Lamucci, Lamucci and Chris Hughton, they both played exactly the same football, but the first 4 games was conceding goals, and it was a bad thing. But Chris Hughton had to come to Forest and sort the defence out. Chris Hughton, he doesn't play like tic-tac football. Chris Hughton's a man that will win games 1-0, 2-1. But we needed that because, like I said, we wasn't playing great under Lamucci. Don't get me wrong, Lamucci came to Forest last season and he done fantastic well for us, fantastic, and we needed that. But Chris Hughton, experience, and Forest fans said, "Oh, not Hughton, he's boring." But we needed him because, like I said, with Chris Hughton's experience, getting Newcastle up, getting Birmingham up, getting I think it was Brighton as well. Yeah, we needed that, and for us for this season. With his experience, we needed to sort our defence out. And to be fair to him, he's done a fantastic job for us because Forest fans were scared. Like we've been in League One before, and I think he's done a fantastic job for us, despite in the way he plays. So,
the way he's doing it, yeah. What games? Sorry, go on, Sam. Go on.
I mean, I just have to ask on the style of play. I mean, I think the 2 men that will be in the spotlight tomorrow are James Garner, who, he didn't have the easiest time. He didn't have the easiest time at us. I think that's why the loan was terminated because I think he kind of used up his opportunities and he just wasn't really in the picture anymore. And obviously, the other man is Glenn Murray, who we've spoken about a bit today. How have they been for you? And do you think they could cause us problems tomorrow?
When Forest got Gardner, me personally, I was like to myself, why are we getting him for? Like you just said, when he was at Watford, wasn't getting game time. And like obviously, we don't need this. In the way we was playing, like getting close to the bottom 3, I thought, oh my days. And the first game he played for Forest, he was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's the kind of player that we needed, despite me saying, why we want him? And since he's come to Forest, he's been absolutely fantastic. Glenn Murray, everyone knew the way he plays. And despite his age, we needed that player as well, funny enough. I know it's funny, because I know we got players like Grabban and Lyle Taylor, and they wasn't doing much. And since when Glenn Murray made his debut against Wickham, at 37 years old, we thought again, wow, this is what kind of player that we needed. So since them two have came to us in Forest, they've changed the way we play. But like Gardner, he likes playing that role, like to ping the ball everywhere. And Forest fans will say he's been one of the players of the season so far, and he's only played how many games? He's played about 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, he's only been there since January, hasn't he?
And his partnership with Cafu has been fantastic. So I'm happy that we got him, and yeah, he's been fantastic for us.
I have to admit, mate, I'm a little bit nervous for tomorrow with Murray and Garner. Particularly, it's going to be a Garner cross Murray header, isn't it? We all know it's going to happen.
Or Garner to score a free kick.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't care. I don't care if one of them two score. I'll be happy. So that's all it matters.
Mate, I wanted to get your thoughts on just other players that we need to look out for from a Forest standpoint. We mentioned Murray and Garner there because obviously we know those guys, but are there any other particular players, the likes of Knockhart maybe, who we've got a bit of history with? Even Harry Arter as well, who's at the club?
Harry Arter's not been playing.
Really?
He's been frozen out. There's been things going off what's been happening around the club. Knockhart, he started with he didn't start with playing that well. He wasn't, as everyone knows about Knockhart. Like Knockhart's a player that he's got a fantastic record in the Championship, but then we extended his loan spell, and since then, like, he's a player that I don't know what fans think. He's a player that will frustrate us. But then one game he'll play great, and then another game he'll just, where is it? But then, like I said, we're in this mess. We're in this mess, and we need him to perform. He's been all right, but he's not been great. Other players that have been great is I said Garner, Cafu. Their partnership together has been fantastic as well. Cafu will sit and let Gardner just ping past the ball. So him and Cafu's been fantastic. Who else has been great?
Your goalkeeper's been all right, hasn't he?
Samba. I don't know if you know. Like Samba, he's what everyone is. You love him or hate him because Samba, he's so frustrating because he's one of the players. He's so laid back. Like if you like last season, how many clean sheets he had, and this season I don't know if when we played Watford, when you came to City Ground, he's just one of the keepers. Like, he's so chilled, but he's fantastic. Like personally, I think he'll get in anyone's side in the Championship. But he's a fantastic goalkeeper. But he's so, what's the word? Like, he's been smoking that stuff. Like, he's so chilled out, but he's fantastic.
Ben, I wanted to get your thoughts on your left back, on your left-hand side, because where Watford have been really strong this season is Kiko Feminier and Sarr linking up all the time. What is your left-hand side like? Because I think that will be a big battle tomorrow down your left and our right.
Oh, we've had so many left backs because I don't know if you know, we've got so many defenders, and we've got defenders like Bong, Ribeiro, and for us to keep chopping and changing. But with Bong, like, people use criticize Bong because of his age, and that Bong's been playing fantastic. Ribeiro, he's a player that likes to get forward as well. So we keep chopping and changing. So I'll be surprised if we don't play Bong, because Ribeiro, as you know, wasn't that great on Tuesday. So I'll be surprised if Bong will be a player to put Sarr in his back pocket, because we know, as Sarr's a fantastic player for Watford. So I'm hopefully Bong plays, because Forest fans will say, well, why this, why that, but like I said, he's been great for us. So hopefully Bong can play him and keep Sarr quiet if Sarr plays.
Yeah, great stuff. I'll tell you what, Ben, just to wrap up, your score prediction for tomorrow. Are you feeling confident?
Well, I was just saying today, Forest got a fantastic record at Watford. So I'm going for it because I know that Watford have been all right this season. I'm going for it. I think Forest will win.
Oh, big shout! Big shout!
Because we've not. When's the last time we beat you beat us at your ground?
True. Even when McGugan scored in 2013, 14, I think it was a draw, wasn't
it? You've not beat us up because it's very that. I'm going for it. I'm going to think 2-1 Forest.
Yeah, we're better. We're better at the City Ground, aren't we? Because I remember in the FA Cup when Agallo scored, and we're better away. Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Very good.
I remember a 2-2 draw the year we got promoted. I think Mikel Antonio scored 2 for you. I can't remember exactly.
Oh no, Ben, you're not filling with confidence now, mate.
I was looking at the stats, and Watford have not beat us at your ground. So sometimes I'm so confident, and if I see like Watford, their bouts and Forest have been awful. So I'm going for it. I think Forest will win 2-1.
Oh, that's big. That's big. Ben, it's been a pleasure having you on, mate. It's been a pleasure having you on. Make sure you go and check out his channel. The link is in the description below. Ben, top man. Good luck tomorrow. And yeah, take care, mate.
Thank you very much for having me on. Up the Reds.
See you later, mate. Oh, there we go.
Okay, lovely.
It was interesting to hear from Ben there, Sam. What did he make of it? Because I think we talked about Garner and Murray a lot, haven't we? But to hear maybe some other aspects of their team, particularly with the left back situation, is certainly one we could target.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds quite promising in certain areas. It seems like obviously we're at different ends of the table, but they had, the way he spoke about Anthony Knockout, we had some players like that this season who have been very hit and miss. I was thinking straight away, it's like Ken Sema, where he's either absolutely incredible, he doesn't really do much at all, if you know what I mean. So
yeah.
It was really interesting to hear that, and I think with Forest, not to say their season's over, I don't think they'll go down. No. They could easily still get sucked into it again, but it's just about getting to the end of the season and going again from next year.
Elliot, just on a Watford standpoint, what changes, if any, do we make tomorrow? Obviously, the one enforced is Tom Cleverley, but is there any change you'd make to the team? Assuming he goes to the same formation, I think.
I can't think of any that spring to mind, really, other than João Pedro is the difficult one. I think I'd maybe put João Pedro in for Sema, and other than that, I'm not sure how many you can make because the squad isn't. We haven't got much depth at the moment to make these changes. If he was feeling really risky, he could chuck Joe Hungbo in there instead of Ismail Assar.
He looked bright though, didn't he, Elliot? I thought he looked really good.
He's going to get more chances now.
He could then go Hungbo on the left, Zinkernagel on the right. So that is an option. I'd admire that. I'd really admire the guts of Xisco if he went with that. But I would like Sarr to play. He did look tired, so there is the possibility that he could make that change. So he's got options. He's got different avenues he could go down. Personally, I would bring João Pedro back, whether it's at left wing or striker. I'd like to see Gray stay in the team because the worst thing you can do for a striker's confidence is drop him after a good performance, because it's bad enough to drop them after they've had a poor one, but to drop him after what is probably his best performance in, how far back do we go? Best in a long time. He was very, very good. So,
I can't think of. I mean, Andre Gray's best moments in a Watford shirt have probably been when he's been an impact sub. I think Palace and Leicester had the two ones that stand out to me. Sam, I just wanted to get your thoughts on Hungbo. You were going to say something there. You think he's going to get more opportunities?
I don't think we'll see him start maybe soon, but I don't think he'll start tomorrow. It's probably too soon. But I do think we are going to see more of him now. I think that Xisco, the way he communicated with him on social media as well was really good to see. And generally, the way he seems to have put an arm around Hungbo and used him as kind of that player to trust from the under 23s and the youth setup just shows that I think he's going to get more opportunities and he's going to be a really exciting prospect for us in the future. So it'll be really good to see more of him. I always love seeing what kind of one of our own in a Watford shirt.
Absolutely. It was really wholesome, that message from Xisco to Joseph Hungbo on Instagram, and also the scenes inside the dressing room afterwards top drawer as well. I'll tell you what, lads, we're going to wrap it up today. Actually, we talked a little bit about a Tom Cleverley injury, and just to wrap up today, I think he's expected to be out to 4 to 5 games, Elliot. I think that's kind of the estimate. It's to do with his ACL, not completely ruptured, but it's like because he'd be out for ages if that was the case. But it's a bit of a tweak and a bit of a not a pleasant one, an uncomfortable win injury. And as soon as you saw him hold his knee, I did fear the worst. But thankfully, it's not as bad as I think was first predicted. Elliot, impact on this Watford team with Tom Cleverley being out. It feels like he set a precedent this season. Are you worried that maybe our standards drop a little bit when he's not in the side?
Yeah, at the risk of sounding pessimistic, he does feel like the gel, and he is the captain at the moment with Troy Deeney out. So it is difficult. It could be a really, really difficult injury for the squad to shake off and to move on from. So it'll be an interesting one. It will be a worrying one because I think he does generate a work rate and an energy that perhaps a midfield without him wouldn't. So it is a worry. I'm glad it's not as long as first feared, because I think when he did fall to the deck, you did think he could be out for a while here.
Who's going to be captain tomorrow, do you think? I assume if Craig Cathcart comes in, then I assume he'd be captain. But I imagine Will Hughes, actually.
Yes, I think it'll be Hughesy or Troost-Ekong, I'd imagine.
I'd like Troost-Ekong to be captain, personally. I think that'd be good. And also, I think one that sometimes people don't mention enough is Adam Messina, because he barks out those orders always, like, he's always the most vocal player, aside from maybe Backman, but that might be because his deep voice carries so far. But Messina is always leading the back line. He's always the one telling everyone exactly where they should be. He was shouting at Sierra to be in this position, be in that position, and it was you can sort of see something else from Adam Messina when you hear that, because you think, okay, he is a leader as well as this left back that is, he's a very good left back, but he's not necessarily been in the best of form at the moment. So to see that and to hear that, it sort of changed my attitude towards him a little bit more, and to realise how much of an impact he has on this Watford team. So I'd be quite happy to see him be captain as well. I can imagine he would bring up the intensity of the team, and he would really give the team a boost in the dressing room and out on the pitch. So Cleverley's impact may be slightly softened if we've got a captain that can maybe bark out those orders like Messina. So we'll have to wait and see. I think it would be worrying if the performances do drop, and if it drops tomorrow against Nottingham Forest, we'll probably get an idea of what it will be like until Cleverley comes back. So tomorrow was a huge game, no doubt about it.
Just last thing from me as well, just on the preview, is that I feel like as well with us being the early kickoff, and also Brentford's game is off tomorrow, I think as well, and I think it's a really good opportunity for us to go into those automatic promotion spots. I think if we win or even draw tomorrow, I want the win obviously, but I know people always go, I'd rather have the games in hand than play first, but I think it puts the pressure on Brentford, and with their kind of tendency of, I don't want to say bottling it, but kind of crumbling
a little bit under the pressure.
Crumbling a bit under the pressure. And also, Swansea with their performances not being great, I think it's a massive opportunity for us to, really show our promotion credentials, as I've said previously.
Absolutely, so, Sam. 100% agree with that. I'll tell you what, to wrap up, score predictions, quick fire. Sam, we'll start with you, mate.
2-0 again.
2-0. I'm going to go with... the fact Ben has said that we've got a rubbish record against Forest at home isn't putting me in great ease, but I'm going to go with a confident 2-0 as well. Elliot, what are you going for, mate?
It's got a draw written all over it, but I've got 100%. I've got 100% win rate from the press box, so I'm going to say.
Have you? Yeah, good man.
He's jinxed it now. Never say that again, Elliot. Never say
that. Every game Andre Gray's scored in, I've been at as well this season, which is 2, but it's still impressive. So I'm going to say.
But Elliot, mate, what the hell? You're just some sort of like lucky charm. Now it's going to end, mate. You just jinxed it. That's it.
3-0 Watford.
You can have Elliot now tomorrow as the mascot, walking out with Hughesy, holding Hughesie's hand and walking out onto the pitch.
Sounds good to me.
Top draw.
Yeah,
Thank you,
3-0.
Yeah, 3-0. We've got 2 2-0s and a 3-0. Let us know what your score predictions are in the comment section below, and let us know your thoughts on today's match preview and your thoughts ahead of tomorrow's game. A really big one at home to Nottingham Forest in the early kickoff. Fingers crossed it's a decent game, because normally, if it's anything like Bournemouth, it's going to be fiery. Hopefully, it's not going to end up in red cards. But thank you to all of you who watched today. Really do appreciate it. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like on the video. Comment down below your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I actually noticed there was a comment from, I think it was Caroline, a little bit further up, about not getting a notification when we go live. But if you want to make sure you do get notified, if you click the bell next to us, the subscribe icon, every time we upload, it should notify you. But thank you very much to all of you who are watching, and come on, you on it.